And we're back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. And we're back on our Star Trek The Next Generation discussion. Season 6, episode
3.
3. Man of the People.
Episode of the People.
Episode of the People. And I'm so happy to be joined once again by our longest running co-host. Now you've beaten the Doctor in terms of how many episodes you've been on.
How do you calculate that? Are you sure?
That's just it's like my ratings.
Know?
It's like my ratings. It's like my ratings. It's a feeling. I'm just going on a feeling. You've caught me. You've caught me.
It's all based on emotion, isn't
it? Get off my damn ship. Get that man on my ship. I want you and Mr. LaForge to break through the dampening field and get that man on my ship. You, sir, will hang for your crimes.
Okay, that's not Picard. He wouldn't scream out things like that. Come on, he wouldn't hang.
You, sir, are wrong.
Walk the plank.
The main guy, what was his name? The character who, the ambassador guy.
Oh, the ambassador dude, alien ambassador.
He was so arrogant when he's there. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Counselor Troi had to die, but you will take me safely to my destination."
He's not exactly there to be a nice guy, is he?
No, he's not a nice guy at all.
But I see what you mean. Even before being established as a villain, he's kind of like already a dick.
A dick. He's a total dick. It's true.
He's a bit of a shite person.
I almost threw up my water. Yes, he is. He's a bit of a shite person as opposed to a shit person.
Before we begin and before you dive into your episode recap, I would like to officially and on air say happy birthday to you from the family on the tube family.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you so much. It's so nice. I'm 41 years old. I can hardly believe I've reached this age. But it feels nice, and it's nice.
Did it go as quickly as did it go past as quickly as they say, or
you mean like all of life so far, or
yeah, all of life so far? The 41 years.
I had a weird dream last night where I was like,
oh, here we go,
watching myself. I know. That's how you always know. Right?
You had an OBE. You had an out of body experience.
It was. I was watching myself grow up. It was really strange until just. I had a lot to drink yesterday. We were my company had a staff outing, and we went on a catamaran and we sailed across the bay into the waters of Biscayne Bay. And everyone just
awesome. I don't know what that bay is, but I want to go there. So.
It's a really beautiful. Actually, Biscayne Bay is known throughout the world for calm, nice sailing waters year round. So if you were a sailor, you would love the Biscayne Bay waters. But anyways, we all got really hammered, and I came I came home and went straight to bed, and it was rather early. It was before 9, I believe. Really strange. I took the public transportation, which was very nice as well. Not something I do often. So yeah,
I never do.
But anyways,
since I have my license, I'm like
in the stream. I saw myself. You drive?
Yeah, I drive.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. I just imagined in Montreal everyone walks everywhere. I don't know.
But I'm not in Montreal. I'm in Laval. I think you would be right about Montreal. A lot of people probably just walk around to take, because they have the subway system. But in Laval, it's more of a modern city. The things are a bit more spread out. So I have a vehicle and drive myself around.
Laval sounds like a Star Trek planet.
Really?
Mr. Data, set a course for Laval.
Laval Prime.
Warp factor 7. Anyway, so in my dream, life certainly happened quickly, Sean, to answer your question. But in real life, sometimes it feels like life's going by real quick, and then sometimes it feels like it's going real slow. So I don't know.
Okay, so
It's all relative. I had my teeth polished
oh really?
recently, so yeah, it's very nice. I can confidently
Confidently smile.
confidently
I
smile
really
now.
should do that as well. My teeth are yellow they're all. But I mean, it might be the Coca-Cola that I drink.
Do you have in Canada? Does your Coca-Cola have actual cane sugar, or does it have this high fructose corn syrup?
I couldn't tell you, but I think Coca-Cola across the entire world has cane sugar, doesn't it?
In yes, in most places other than the United States, I think that
Okay.
has cane sugar. But here in the United States, it's made with this stuff called high fructose corn syrup, which is kind of
Which is disgusting, by the way. You don't want to taste that because like maple syrup is nice, but that's maple. Golden syrup, which is just basically sugar, but liquid, you can actually taste that and it's nice. But what you're talking about, the high fructose corn syrup, is disgusting.
really.
Yeah, it's
You've
not good.
tasted? How have you tasted? Is it like
Oh,
a thing that's
we have it for certain recipes. We have to use it for certain recipes at work.
how do they make it taste like sugar then later on? Like how come? Because I've had
It's not. It doesn't taste like sugar. It's just it is sweet, so it's a natural
right.
sweetener. So it'll sweeten whatever you put it in. It doesn't have this particular taste. If you know what I
Mm.
mean.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
It's like if you put honey in something, it'll taste like honey. Chances are, because honey's very strong. But if you
Right.
put this high fructose corn syrup in, it won't taste like corn syrup. It'll
Anything,
taste
but it
sweet.
makes it sweet. That's
Yeah.
scary. Yeah, so I try to buy Coca-Cola from Mexico.
Okay, fair enough. But then I have noticed differences because the Coca-Cola from Spain when I was in France wasn't as sweet. And I don't know because I know that different countries have different regulations and rules and what have you. The Red Bull in France is very different from the Red Bull in the United States.
Oh, fascinating.
Mm,
Well, you're such a
interesting.
world traveler. You would know these things.
Most of what's in Red Bull in the United States is illegal in France anyway. So
Really?
yeah, so
What on earth do we?
well, you're not allowed to know because they don't tell you the recipe, but
Oh, shite.
they had to like
That's a shite moment.
yeah, that's a shite moment. They had to literally change the recipe in order to like bring it into France and other European countries.
Wow.
I know.
Well,
Which
I
is
don't drink
scary for
Red
you
Bull.
guys because it seems like in the United States there are very few regulations on all this kind of stuff.
And then there's regulations, oddly, in things that we don't want there to be regulations on. So,
Well, you have some regulation changing to do.
c'est la vie.
C'est la vie.
um, just, just one last question now that we've broached the topic. Coke versus Pepsi.
Oh, Coca-Cola. Coke all the way.
I have never liked Pepsi. It's too sweet. I
Yeah,
apologize to the.
I'm not a fan of Pepsi.
But if Pepsi wants to sponsor the show,
Oh,
I'm I'm happy to drink.
come
I'm
on, why
happy to
not?
fake. I'm happy to fake drink Pepsi.
You can pour Coke in your Pepsi bottle and just pretend it's Pepsi.
Oh, I've switched. I've switched to Pepsi. I love it. Okay,
I've
so
never been a fan of Pepsi. There is a notable difference between the two, by the way, because I know a lot of people think it's the same, but
I can't even imagine anyone thinking it's the same. Pepsi's so sweet.
here's a pro tip for anyone that works like in any kind of job where you have to serve drinks to people. If someone asks for a Coke and you bring them a Pepsi, that's wrong. You've brought them the wrong drink. Just saying. Because I know a lot of people consider it's the same thing, but if I ask for an orange juice and you bring me an apple juice, then it's the wrong drink. This is the same thing. I've asked for one beverage, not another.
Right.
It
Except
happens so often.
some people just call soda Coke, which is really odd too, I find.
Mm.
They think
No one calls it sody pop.
wow. Not in a long time, I don't think. But they do in the Midwest, people call it pop, just pop. Like
Yeah, I've
sure.
heard that pop.
Yeah. Pop, soda.
I like pop.
But if you go to Europe and you order a soda,
cool.
you get what? A soda water.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you order pop in some places, I don't know what you would get, but you won't get a soda. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. That's the PSA today for Starfleet Boy. If you're ordering, if you get someone orders a Coke, please do not bring them a Pepsi. I'm in the same camp. Some restaurants are all one or the other too, which is odd.
Which is, I think
So if
that's a
you're at a
very strange business move, but then whatever.
yeah, like why wouldn't you just serve both?
Yeah, I don't know. But then I don't know the logistics of those certain restaurants, so maybe there's a reason behind it.
Yeah, it's probably that Pepsi pays them a little extra or gives
Mm.
them a generous discount on the supplies to
I think
be
that's it. I think
exclusive.
it just comes like because they would order from whatever supplier, and maybe whatever supplier has a good deal on Pepsi, and so they just go, "Hey, we'll just get everything Pepsi."
Right. Right, absolutely. Well,
That
I
being
guess we'll
said, even if
yes.
I don't drink Pepsi, I don't care whether I drink Sprite or Seven Up.
You just
They're not the same, but
you just negated your previous uh
no, I mean they're different. No, 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 they
rant.
are different. They're different drinks. It's just that I enjoy them both. Whereas Pepsi and Coke, I only enjoy one.
So if you order a Sprite and they bring you a 7 Up, you're not going to be
I
you're not
still
going to
am on
get
principle. I'll get mad.
yeah,
Like, hey,
okay.
this is the wrong drink. I'll drink it, but it's the wrong drink.
But you okay, so I see. You'll
It's
still
the
get
same with
mad.
an orange. It's the same with an orange juice and an apple juice. I can drink both. It's just if I order one, it's because I wanted that one.
That's true. Okay, well, good to know. Now we all
You know so much useless information about me now.
we learn something new on Starfleet Boy every day, and now we're 13 minutes in, and
And we're talking about the drink of the people.
yes, it's true. Let's let's stick with the program here. So the Enterprise is cruising along, and they get a distress call from a transport ship, a Federation transport ship. And they go to intercept, and they manage to get there in time to, I guess whoever was attacking them got scared and left. And the captain of the transport ship is like, yeah, we got attacked, we're carrying an ambassador to this planet, and he, and I guess they attacked because of him. Can we just offload this guy onto you guys? And so Picard's like, yes, beam them aboard. So the ambassador beams over with an elderly woman. Counselor Troi goes to meet them, and the elderly woman is supposedly the ambassador's mother, and she immediately hones in on Troi, and she's like, "I know what you want. I know you want him. Stay the f away." And Troy's freaked out.
As you would be. She's kind of she's intimidating.
She's super intimidating. That actress, I mean, like claw, like she's got clawy fingers, and she's like, "Stay away from me." so, so then,
That sounded like that old lady in Princess Bride. The one that
boo,
boo.
boo, boo. That's exactly what that scene was like. Actually, it was exactly just like. Boo! I know what you want, Counselor Troi. Boo! That hurt my throat. Anyways, Counselor Troi is freaked out, but it doesn't stop her from inviting the ambassador to Klingon. What is that? Tai Chi? What was it called again?
I think it's Klingon Tai Chi. I forget what it's called, but it is Klingon Tai Chi.
Right. So they do that. She's like pretty impressed at how disciplined the ambassador's mind is,
Makbara.
and so she Makbara.
Yeah. There you go.
Makbara.
There you go.
And then we'll cancel Troi later on, which is possessed. She's all like, Makbara. she gets a little crazy. Anyways, I imagine the certain members of our audience enjoyed that scene. Anyways, they hang out in the turbolift for a little bit, and they're kind of flirting or whatever, and then shortly after that, Commander Riker, she can't concentrate. She's hanging out in her quarters. Commander Riker comes over to do crew evaluations, which
Again with
I'd
the
like
crew
to talk about.
evaluations.
Yeah, it's always constant with the crew evaluation. I think it's just an
It's just an excuse, isn't it? It's just an excuse. Let me evaluate you. But
but then again, I mean, crew evaluations must be crazy because there's like, I know there's 1,000 people and you can't, they're not all officers, they're not all
but then there's a lot of departments,
crew,
and
but
then there's a lot of head of departments, and so yeah, it must be
yeah,
way
so
too much
like it
of a
must be
thing.
like it must be a
This is
year-long
the
thing on
advantage
their
of
part.
being a captain. You don't have to deal with that shit. You know?
Well, he only
You
has
got
to
you.
do
I mean,
like the bridge crew,
yeah,
right? Like
exactly right. And then
he has
maybe
to
he
evaluate
has
that.
2 or 3 officers that he's interested in, and he keeps tabs on, even if they're like lower decks or whatever. But other than that, just let Riker do all the work.
What is a crew evaluation with Picard like? What do you imagine? How do you imagine it? It's like,
Well,
imagine
it's the talk down that he gives Wesley when he does something stupid at the academy.
Yeah, but what if you're great? Like, let's say you're okay. Trek on the Tube is a lieutenant. What are you now? A lieutenant?
I don't know. What am I?
Lieutenant
It
commander?
changes every day, doesn't it?
No,
There's no
on the
consistency.
bridge. All right, let's just pretend you're lieutenant commander Trek on the Tube, right?
Okay.
And Picard calls you in. Hello. Thank you for meeting with me today, Lieutenant Commander Trek on the Tube.
Oh, is it one of those very annoying things where you have to evaluate yourself? Like, I hate those. You sit there in the
Everyone,
office, and then you're
yeah,
like, well, I have to say what's good and bad about me? Well, that sucks. I don't know.
I don't know if it will work, but in my last one I wrote that I don't know what my weaknesses are. I need to be told because I've been trained to focus on my strengths. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh, here we go. Oh, good play. Good play.
Well, we'll see. So we'll see how that goes. Well, Mr. Trek on the Tube, I understand you can't decide what your weaknesses are. Well, let me point them out for you.
Oh no. Oh no.
I feel like that's how it's gonna go. Here's a list.
Here's a list. Pulls out the tab. I just need to scroll back up.
I stopped at 3 pages because I was enjoying it too much.
Oh no.
so then
Picard ruining your self-esteem. That's it. That's the Picard show. Just
so
sits there. Ruining people's self-esteem.
So I kind of like watch these episodes now and wonder what the Picard show is going to be like. Like, what is he going to be like?
I don't know.
Now it's kind of an interesting thing to think about because he's going to be different apparently.
Different.
So anyways, they try to do crew evaluations and they don't do a good job at it because Counselor Troi can't really concentrate. But they start trying to work, and then they get a Worf basically says there's an emergency in the ambassador's quarters. They go to the ambassador's quarters, and like his mother is just on the floor dead in this weird kind of position. She was doing her claw thing and she was smiling and her head was like turned over. It was like it was kind of horrifying to look at, like how she was frozen in that position actually.
It's so terrifying that Memory Alpha, actually, out of like the 3 or 4 images they show of the episode, they've actually chosen that one.
Oh.
Which is, yeah. Poor thing to die like that.
Sharing. Well, and also just to be his. Well, we'll get to that in a second. Anyways, the ambassador then, who is feigning grief, or maybe he is truly grieving, I'm not sure, but he asked Counselor Troi if she'll engage in a ritual with him for the it's like a funeral ritual or funeral meditation, he calls it. And of course, Counselor Troi agrees to do it. And so he pulls out this thing that looks like a coffin. It looks scary as fuck. It's like very cool vampire references here. And he he like starts doing this meditation, and basically in the midst of it, he touches her stone. He gives her a stone, and they each have a stone, and in the midst of it, he touches her stone, and this like energy blast goes through it or something and bonds them together. And Counselor Troi actually freaks out. Like she like kind of senses the sensation, but I guess she just thinks, oh, well, you know.
I feel
I mean,
she would freak out more than us. She would be more like in tune with this kind of stuff happening. Maybe
yeah,
maybe we who are not like telepathic
or
or
empathic in this
empathic, we
case. Yeah,
wouldn't quite understand what's going on.
right. And it was interesting to find out that his species is empathic amongst each other, but not with others. So that was an interesting
I
little
like that.
tidbit.
I think that makes sense, to be honest, because the race has evolved in such a way, but then everyone's physiology is quite different, so it doesn't necessarily mean that they can sense what other people say. But then like betazoids, they can't actually they're not empathic. Like, what is it with the Ferengi? They can't
Well, they're telepathic, except Troy, who's
yeah,
empathic
just
because
empathic, but
she's
they
yeah.
can't hear what the Ferengi think, for
Yeah,
example.
yeah, that was interesting too. Yeah, that's true. So it actually kind of fits. It's uh betazoids are more can tune into more frequencies, I guess, or
Yeah, I
whatever,
suppose so,
which is
yeah.
pretty cool. But also that actually comes into play in this episode because for whatever reason, because of her physiology, the bonding process is accelerated, and instead of years, which he says his other vessels were with him, she only seems to last an episode. Conveniently, she
Episode's
ages
worth.
an episode's worth. So they're bonded together, and immediately Counselor Troi starts to change. She does that weird sexy thing in in the gym or whatever, like the exercise room, and then afterwards she's in the turbo lift, and she sees this hot, I might say, young ensign or whatever, lieutenant, very very sexy man, and she seduces him with a look. She just kind of stares at him, which I have to say, Counselor Troi does have that. Yeah, she can
Yeah,
do it.
she's got that swagger.
She's got that swagger. She could pull it off. And then she's wearing a very surprisingly revealing outfit for television.
This felt like a Roddenberry episode.
But he's gone. He was gone.
I know
So,
he was gone.
but it was like an homage to Gene.
A homage.
Homage to Gene Roddenberry. But yeah, so Riker comes to see her. She's acting weird. She kind of makes him uncomfortable. And then she goes into 10 forward. I thought her Cruella de Vil outfit looked kind of awesome. She looks like Cruella de Vil from Disney's 101 Dalmatians. And she freaks out.
Reminds us of her mother, kind of.
Yeah, she was freaking out just like the mother who wasn't the mother was freaking out. And all the while, like, everyone's just like, whoa, what's like, what's going on with Deanna? Anyways, Riker kind of vouches for her a little bit, or kind of saves her, I guess, or rescues them more likely, and says they're needed on the bridge, takes her to the quarters, and she gets all freaky on him there, and then scratches his neck. And then it's just acting weird as F. And then, like, within hours, the ambassador's like,
that's,
okay,
that's foreplay for Worf.
Yeah, totally. Worf.
He wouldn't have been freaked out at all. He would have been like, "Oh, yep."
He would be like, "Oh, I see you are engaging in the mating ritual."
Yeah. Under tradition, we need to get married.
So Dr. Crusher and the crew are really concerned about Counselor Troi, and Dr. Crusher starting to make links. They won't let her do an autopsy on the mother. So she can't really get. We're so yawny. There's so much yawning.
God, even the episode recap is. Oh my god.
We need some coffee. Coffee on the tube. Anyway, I love you could add on the tube to
anything. It works. All right, get this recap done so we can move on.
We're almost there. So the ambassador comes to say goodbye, and he's like, "See you later." And she's really haggard looking now, and she's freaking out because she's like, "I thought you would let me help you," blah blah blah. And she's still jealous about the assistant that I failed to mention earlier in the summary. There's like a new young assistant who the ambassador is working with, and Troy's super jealous of her. Anyways, they are set to transport. Troi comes in with a freaking dagger, and I guess she's gonna kill the assistant or something. She's like not. She's like totally nuts. And Captain Picard gets in the way, and he gets stabbed. He actually gets, yeah, he gets stabbed.
Hero Picard.
The chief, who I don't think we know her name, but O'Brien's replacement, the chief, like, gets involved and like tosses the knife away, and Troi gets sent off to sickbay, and the ambassador beams down, and they're just like baffled as to what's going on. Finally, Dr. Crusher's like, I don't give a darn what they say. I need to do this autopsy because I need to figure out what's going on with Troi. Audience, I hope you're not yawning, because yawning is contagious. I just saw Sean yawn and I yawned. Sean yawn. That it totally rhymes. Sean yawn. Could be your rapper name, Sean Yawn.
That's basically a brand of car, I think. SsangYong, isn't it? SsangYong.
I never heard of that car.
You've never heard of that?
A car? Like a car that you drive?
Yeah. I'm gonna let you finish this episode recap very quickly. And I'm gonna go check my oven because I think it's raining, but I think I'm the only one left in the house, so I don't want things to get out of hand. Yeah.
Okay,
right.
so
while Sean goes, a minute.
Okay, while Sean goes to check on that. So, anyways, she does the autopsy, and she comes to the conclusion that it's so weird doing the episode summary without Sean there. I can't hear how he's gonna react to it. Anyways, audience, let us know in the comments below how you feel. So she does the autopsy and discovers that there is in fact some kind of link to the other body. She finds out that the old woman who was posing as the ambassador's mother is actually in her 30s, physiologically, and also not related to him in any way. So once they find this out, Captain Picard beams down to the planet, and
I'm back.
Welcome back. Okay, so I didn't get too far. I just said that she does the autopsy. She finds out that the old woman's really in her 30s. She's also not the ambassador's mother. Captain Picard and Worf beam down to the planet. They talk to the ambassador, who straight up admits and has no problem with saying that, oh yeah, I've been doing this for like ages and ages.
Jam, this is my thing.
Yeah, it's my jam, and like, he pulls out the good of the many outweighs the good of the few type of argument, and Picard's just like horrified. He's just like, I love the acting in that part, and he's just like basically like, yo, no bueno, you need to release Counselor Troi. And he's like, I can't, sorry. And then they're escorted off the planet. When they get back to the Enterprise, they concoct a plan where if they kill Counselor Troi, the link will be severed, a la Michael Burnham, Red Angel. If they kill Counselor Troi, the Red Angel will come and save her. Sorry, I'm trying not to make you laugh there. But anyways, they decide to go ahead and do the plan. The ambassador beams back up and sees her dead body. They inform him like, oh, she's dead, you need to come back up. So he comes back up with the assistant. They sees her body, does that crazy thing that we talked about earlier, where he's like, well, too bad about your friend. I don't give two shits or shites, and you need to safely get me back to my planet. And so he tries the whole thing again on his assistant, but in the middle of it, they revive Counselor Troi, and that causes since it was in the middle of this whole process, it causes like a malfunction in the process, and it backfires, and just like the portrait of Dorian Gray, it is revealed how ugly he actually is inside, and he deteriorates and dies rather quickly.
Boom.
Boom. Counselor Troi is back to normal. The assistant is saved. Who she was a bitch, by the way, that assistant to everyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, okay,
Mm.
well, maybe she'll think twice next time.
Well, I mean, okay, we've had essentially not judging the entire species, on just three people, but those three people in particular of those species, they weren't very nice.
No, they weren't really nice. It was really kind of weird.
And it's kind of weird, like, to imagine that he's an ambassador. Like these people. Anyway, I suppose
Well,
every species has to have an ambassador, I guess.
I guess so. I mean, every nation or every world. But anyways, that's the episode. So they live happily ever after until the next episode.
Until the next episode, where some other shenanigan happens.
Exactly.
It's not the best of episodes.
No, I agree, and I do find it I think my biggest thing is, as good as Marina Sirtis's performances, it just always feels like the women are the ones that are getting possessed or violated constantly.
Yeah, that's my first note. Is it another mind rape episode?
Right.
Like, they could have done so much more with Deanna Troi as a character, because every time they get like an episode focused on her, it is a lot about this. It's she's having. I know that they want to use the empathic or the telepathic kind of side of things, because they only have that character to exploit that with, but it always ends up being some sort of mental rape or some like mind control or just something.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, 6 seasons in, like every season, she's attacked.
Yeah,
in some way.
And
I
once you
feel
start
like
focusing on Deanna Troi in the beginning of an episode, you're like, I know what this is. Either her mother's gonna arrive and it's gonna be a funny episode, or it's gonna be one of those, kind of just like, I can't wait till this ends kind of thing, because I don't know. In my most recent Discovery video, I talked about how certain episodes of Deep Space Nine or Next Generation, these shows have certain episodes that aren't necessarily terrible, but we could do without, even if ultimately they make up the show. And this is exactly one of those episodes. I mean, if it didn't exist, it wouldn't really matter.
right. I think on the whole there were some cool things. Like I said, I think that they were definitely going for a vampire type.
I like the idea of like the concept of someone. I think that's what they probably began with, the concept of this guy. He's a very good ambassador and he's saving thousands of or millions of lives, but he's sucking the life force out of these people to do so. And so there's a kind of like a moral issue on that, but they didn't really deal with that moral issue very much. They spend so much time setting up the whole life drain thing.
No, yeah, it's true, and
it's very funny because he's essentially an energy vampire.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I've started watching What We Do in the Shadows, the TV series.
Is that the new What We Do in the Shadows, or was there an old
What We Do in the Shadows was like a mockumentary movie. I think there was a short that he turned into a movie, and so you can see the movie. But then now they've like spun it off into like
a TV series with the same cast. It has what's his name, Jermaine?
Yeah, no, they're not main, but they came in. They do a cameo at some point.
Oh,
so
cool!
In the shared universe, there's also Wellington Paranormal, which is like another separate show, but that's a more underground New Zealand show. But this is What We Do in the Shadows TV series is on FX. It's for mainstream audiences in the US. But they have an energy vampire with them, right? So there's regular vampires that suck the blood, but this guy here, he's a boring guy. And he's just goes on forever about boring things, and he sucks the life out of you. He sucks the energy from you. It's a crazy really concept, but
it's kind of realistic. I mean,
yeah, it is.
I definitely think I've met some energy vampires.
He says we're the most common vampire. You probably met a lot of us. Well, I feel like I have. But, so this guy's the same thing. He's like an energy vampire. He just needs a stone to facilitate the transfer or whatever.
Right, he makes that connection, and then he sucks the energy or the soul right out of you. It's crazy. And that's the other thing. I guess like I think if it was the first time we saw Counselor Troi get crazy, it might have been more impactful. But again, I enjoy Marina Sirtis's acting, and like there's that aspect of this episode that's humorous now, which I don't think was the intention. Is to, is to kind of like watch her go through this like get crazy kind of kind of go nuts, right? Like, but again,
Yeah, they
I
add
think we've seen it.
sexiness to it. Like they add the whole, she gets all Krilla sexy, right?
Yeah, and the whole seducing the
That
lieutenant or
that I think
or
adds
whatever.
the more like lighthearted aspect to the episode, what you're referring to, but probably wasn't the intent.
No, I don't think it was the intent. I do remember when I saw this episode as a kid, it was definitely not one of my favorites. I was probably bored by it because of all the like emotional stuff. I was definitely more into the battles and the space battles and the and like things like that, and just like more
I wasn't
excitement.
a fan of Deanna Troy as a child, I gotta say. When I was a kid, I used to watch Voyager and Deep Space Nine and Voyager and TNG. And I mean, I liked Majority and Madata and Riker. Um,
Oddly, and we're not, it's gonna be many years until we do the Voyager edition of Starfleet Boy, but I, as you know, I've been watching it to kind of fill in this huge gap of my Star Trek knowledge. And I just saw that episode in season 3, Remember, I think it's called, where Belana is having memories of
yeah,
this
same kind of.
whole.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, it is a similar thing, but I did think that was executed really well. But it is kind of like crazy. Yeah, she gets a little crazy and starts confronting everyone and all this stuff. But it just made me think about that as well. And I don't think Star Trek Discovery hasn't really done this yet, which is interesting. Like they haven't
I
really.
think they can stay
I
away
mean,
from it. They don't need to. But
you got that Star Trek Discovery. Who knows what's gonna happen in the? I think that in the 32nd century, it's gonna start to resemble even weirder stuff will happen.
I think they should. I hope they're gonna make it more episodic and more ensemble, based. Because now they have like a small crew, like a skeleton crew on the ship, in like in completely unknown space, and then so now you can really focus on the interpersonal relationships. You can really focus on.
I agree 100% on the ensemble cast thing, but I do think that they should stay serialized. I think that like I have to say for me, season 2 was more exciting to binge watch because it was serialized. So I like that a lot.
I
By the
like
way, I
how
fell into
they
it.
balance them both. I like the first
Yeah,
part of the season, which is it is both serialized, but you have these like individual stories each time. With the
yeah.
sphere or New Eden.
Before we get back to TNG, I just want to let you know, since we're back together again after a while doing this series, here's our Expanse moment. I fell into an Expanse hole the other night, and I couldn't stop. Like it's like they flow so beautifully into into one another that I was like, "What's going on?" It's like 1 a.m. and I can't. So that's kind of like what I want from Star Trek is that you could, obviously they don't. Does the Expanse come out weekly? I forget how they air it.
They used to air it weekly because it used to come out on Sci-Fi, but now that Amazon Prime have this and they're a video on demand service, we don't know how they're going to do this.
So we don't know. Okay.
We don't know yet. So I don't even know how many episodes they've planned for season 4. I don't know if maybe they're gonna do like a huge time lapse or something because I don't know if they bought all the sets or if they're building new sets because maybe they have the same studios, just contract like changes.
Huh.
I don't know how that works when someone like picks up a show like
It's
that.
kind of unprecedented. I mean, Netflix kind of does it. I think they
Well,
just
yeah,
picked up
they're starting to do it
Lucifer. Yeah.
now. But
Yeah.
then Netflix has a tendency of picking up shows after like a long time, or then remaking like Fuller House, that kind of stuff. So you can kind of play around with sets or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Very
No,
cool.
no spoilers about the end of season 3, but you could very well do a time lapse at the end of season 3 of The
Yeah.
Expanse and then just move along.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's also opened up a whole new
thing.
possibility of things. Yeah, so it's true. So I guess what else? What else about this episode was interesting to you?
There's like Ensign Janeway,
Oh yeah, I took
but
note of
it's
that
not
too.
Janeway.
Obviously, but it could be like her cousin or like
I
I
like
thought
that.
that
It
might
was
be
fun.
fun. It was fun to yeah. And Voyager wasn't on at this time, right? So
I've actually written down on my piece of paper here that dude looks like Ken, so that may seem kind of weird out of context, but I'm talking about the handsome man from the turbo lift. I was
very
like, okay,
handsome.
he looks like Ken, like he's just the man, right?
Yeah, I mean he
he,
had like perfect
he was
hair.
chosen for his perfect features.
Yeah, standard. They call it standard in the photography world. We call it standard beauty, which is
Standard beauty.
odd. Yeah, it's
Okay.
not. It's odd because I actually like that because it is. It's standard. It's the standard idea of beauty. And as a photographer, I personally look for non-standard beauty,
Hmm.
but I like that's what it's referred to. Um,
Well, I mean,
but anyways,
you
he's
need to
very.
have terminology, don't you?
You do, yeah, yeah, that's true. He is very standardly beautiful or handsome, I would say. And then I do like the scene where Commander Riker walks in and he stands. He's like, "Oh my god!" He's like, holy shit!" And it's not quite like you have to kind of catch it, but he actually leaves her quarters without his boots on. He's holding his boots in his hands.
Mm.
So I thought that's funny too, because he has to he's like trying to get out of this awkward situation, and like Counselor Troy's like, I know where I can find you if I need
Yeah,
you,
it's
and
like,
he's
come
like,
on,
yes,
what the hell?
he's like, yes, ma'am.
So once all of this, like this this episode, lol, but once all of this thing is over, does she go back to the guy and say, "Look,
I
I was under
wondered
the
this.
influence of something.
Yeah,
It's a
I
bit
wondered the
awkward,
same
but
thing. They obviously don't have a relationship ever again
no,
because
no. I mean,
yeah,
well, not that we
but
know
what
of, but
I mean, the
I don't
whole
know.
situation, it's kind of it's kind of interesting because
Does Riker get him transferred?
what if
Does
that's
he brag about this like as an accomplishment on his next assignment?
what
Like,
if that's Ensign Janeway?
alright.
He's
The funny thing is,
Riker.
I
Riker
realized that
does his crew evaluation, and and he's like, well, we're gonna have to transfer you to a freighter. Sorry,
oh god.
to a
I was
freighter,
gonna
man.
say it's nice because I realized that we've pretty much written down the same thing in our notes because I have Cruella de Vil Deanna written down on my notes.
You
And
also wrote this.
I wrote the same thing as you, right?
That's so funny. She is. She's totally Cruella
I
de
wrote
Vil.
crew evaluation reports again. Lol. So,
Deanna, call me when you're ready to work. I like that line. What about when the scene where in I thought that one scene where the other crewman is complaining about her department lead not wanting her in her department, that was an interesting scene
hmm.
because
I've written brutal Deanna for
yeah,
that
she
because
was
she
so,
gets real savage.
so savage.
It's
She's
like maybe
like
you're the problem here.
she's like maybe he's tired of hearing you complain. I know I certainly it's like,
Whoa.
it was kind of crazy. Um but it was also cool to
It
see that
was
on the
fun
internet.
though because she's not like that usually.
No, she's not like that. It was definitely a good way to like bring
And she
out
didn't have
the
that corny deep voice they give her when she gets possessed. She
that's
said it
true.
without the she said it without the deep voice.
Maybe I'm bored of your
There it is. Okay, I do have something to talk about. It's the like the how should I say this? Good Picard following the traditions and culture of the species in question, and I like that. I feel like they have a tendency of making Beverly Crusher always go against tradition.
Yeah, she's very much that's
She's
true.
always like, screw this culture. I have to do this, right? And ultimately, in the end, it turns out she was right because the crew is in danger, so they have to do the autopsy. But I really liked how Picard made this point about saying, no, like the culture is this, we must respect it. If
Yeah,
there's
he
no one
asked
in danger,
danger, right?
then we have to respect the culture, and I like that.
Yeah, I think Picard was really great in this episode. Again, the scene that stood out to me, I said it in the summary, was um, when he's talking to the ambassador, and the ambassador is just basically like, "Yeah, this is what I do," and he's like, "Whoa." Did you understand? One thing I didn't that wasn't clear was, is this something that they all do on his planet, or is this something that he discovered? I wasn't clear on that.
I don't think they actually explain that. I think we don't know.
Okay.
I would assume Starfleet from this point on investigate the matter because they received the report and they're like, hey, wait a minute, this dude from this species is doing this. Maybe we can go check out if the others are doing the same thing because they have the ability. But maybe he's the only one with the stone, right? The
Yeah, I
the
think
mind
I
stone.
think he might have been a singular event, or a singular instance. I don't think
I
all.
would think so. Come on, not his entire species.
Well, yeah,
They're not
because she
all
didn't
they're not all
know
shite.
the the young assistant didn't know anything
Yeah, she
about.
didn't know anything about it.
Right,
So
that's right.
okay, so my question is, okay, so ambassadors are not employees of they're not Starfleet officers. They're ambassadors.
Right, their federation.
But would they be Federation employees? Like, do they work for the Federation? Because
Yeah,
he has
100%.
this whole thing about not having to respect the orders of Picard. Like I don't need to do this. I don't need to do that.
Well,
And then
that's because
I'm kind of like, but don't you?
even, but
He's
like
the
in
authority on that ship, right? You need to
right.
follow his, he's the captain of that vessel. You need to follow his orders, I would assume.
Typically, ambassadors have always enjoyed some kind of privilege
Liberty.
or immunity from law, and I'm not really sure why, actually, because I remember when I worked in retail, and an ambassador would come in, and they were always exempt from paying tax, for example,
Okay.
which I guess makes sense. I don't know, but they were always exempt from paying taxes, and I
But these
think,
are
like, for
ambassadors from other countries in the US, for example.
correct.
Okay. Well, I mean, that aligns itself with the fact that if you go on holiday to whatever other country and you buy like a big item in that country, you can actually get the taxes reimbursed at the airport because
Oh, is that the
you
whole
don't.
duty
Yeah,
duty stuff?
you don't need to pay taxes for that country. So if you buy a really big item and there's a lot of taxes on it, then you can get them refunded when you leave the country. So I suppose if ambassadors are traveling everywhere, then they have that advantage, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose so. But I mean, then also, there's just other they call it diplomatic immunity, right? Because whatever like Julian Assange has been in the Ecuadorian, or what was it,
Oh
embassy
yeah,
all this
for
time,
however long, and now
I think it was 7 years now, and he was able to do that because of that privilege
they
that
had granted him asylum,
and
but then
right.
the government's changed now, and the new government didn't want him in there.
Right. Well,
Mm.
also, yeah, exactly. So, anyways, the thing is that he was sitting in this building in London or whatever, but that building technically was not British. It's not British soil. So there's all these kinds of interesting things, like, and I imagine that translates or will translate into a future time when there's like planetary ambassadors. Because I
Hmm.
mean, well, we have the famous Klingon ambassador in your favorite Star Trek film, Star, Star Trek 4. So I imagine that's a nightmare to deal with.
You're talking about Star Trek 5.
Oh no, Star Trek 4 is your favorite.
Yeah, Star Trek 4 is my favorite.
Yeah, and the Klingon ambassador in the beginning.
Oh yes,
Who,
that's right. Okay, I was thinking about Planet Star Wars there, with all of the ambassadors from the Romulan and the Klingon and
this 3, the
oh that's three. No, No, that's
Yeah, Nimbus 3.
yeah, Nimbus 3, Star Trek 5.
But Star Trek 5, yeah. And you have it's the planet of universal peace or something like that. I forget what it
Yeah,
is. It's like
it's Star Wars planet is what it is. Star Wars land.
Yeah,
There are
so
horses and stuff. It's Firefly.
it is kind of Firefly. It's true. It's true. Star Trek is certainly plants the seed to a lot of stuff.
Anyway,
Indeed.
so like, I feel like he should have a bit like more respect for like the captain's wishes on that ship, even if he is like what he's like an independent contractor essentially. Um, but yeah, you can't supersede Picard and say no, I don't follow your orders just because I'm an ambassador. You're on the ship. You need to respect the rules of the ship.
It's true. All right, so that's it for my notes. I mean, I have nothing else. Do you have anything else about this episode there, Sean?
Not really. Um, oh, the makeup was a bit okay. So this is the makeup on the face of Deanna Troy is good, but there's a big problem because her hands aren't old and
All
her
right.
neck isn't old, and it's just like
This
you
happens so
guys did
much.
a half
Yeah.
job.
This happens
Um,
so much
and yeah,
in aging makeup, and it's like I wonder why they do that. Like, because you can't, because like you can't tell me that you're not watching, you're not looking at the scene and thinking like
I'm confused, and I'm not blaming anyone here. Just to be clear, it's just I'm confused as to why the actors don't say anything, and maybe they do. But if you're an actor, you're looking at your hands, and you're like, wait a minute, we should age these things, right? Um, the neck maybe you forget about, but the hands, I don't know. So
Well, I've seen
the
clever.
aging wasn't bad on the
Yeah,
face. It's just that it was lacking
yeah.
on the rest of
Actually,
the body.
I have never been fond until recently. Like, I guess it's safe to start talking about Endgame, but I thought that old man Cap was. Oh, hold on, sorry, I gotta. Old man Cap, I thought was really great CGI aging because that was still
It wasn't CGI.
what?
Boom.
Well, it was really good makeup
Yeah, it
aging.
was.
It was
I
really
agree.
great. Wow.
We're getting really good at the aging makeup, and we're getting really good at the young CG, like CGing people to become young. And I think now we're successful in doing such a thing. But I mean, the Inner Light is amazing TNG episode, but the makeup doesn't hold up.
Right. Right. I agree with
It's
that.
starting to kind of get like
It just looks like
especially
they're.
considering we know what he looks like now that he's old, and
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
he's
we
not
do,
like that.
and actually, Patrick Stewart looks pretty darn good.
I mean, yeah. So
He
he
looks
doesn't
pretty
look
good.
like
Yeah.
whatever the hell was going on in the Inner Light. But
Well, that's just the thing, isn't it? It's like I feel like aging makes you look like your face is melting in these older things. It looks like just like you're melting, and I don't think that's like realistic. I think there's like a brittleness to an older person's skin that now is starting to be conveyed more.
yeah, it's not all drooping, isn't it? It's more like a crackle.
A crack, yeah.
I don't know.
I'm gonna be old and look
I'm
back.
doing my best.
We're gonna look back on this episode, and I'll be like, "Yeah, look, Sean, I crackled as I got older."
I've actually written a good of the many as a note, so we've literally gone over the same notes.
Wow,
You've
we're
written
like
the
the
same thing. I
same
know
thing.
this
That's
is
so
amazing.
funny. Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. Well, I think to be cognizant of the good of the many, I think it's time to wrap this sorry episode. This sorry episode.
Okay, here's another thing, which
Okay.
is my final comment.
Okay.
The aliens at some point speak in their own alien language, but I can hear that they have an American accent when they speak the language. And I don't know. I don't know how to explain this. I don't
It
know if
just
I'm the
annoys
only
you.
one. I don't know if I'm the only one that experiences this, but sometimes some actors are able to speak in like they speak in Elvish or they speak in whatever in Dothraki, and you can hear that it's actually that language, and it's great. But sometimes other people they don't know how to like maybe just do certain sounds, and it sounds like an English person or an American speaking that language.
Right. No, it's totally true. I didn't even remember that they spoke their own language.
Yeah, very.
Um,
It was part of the ritual with the tapping of the stone and.
oh, I thought that one more note that I forgot to talk about was I thought that the costumes for the ambassador and his people were interesting. They reminded me a little bit of a Bajoran thing going on, especially the young assistant kind of looked like Major Kira. Her outfit reminded me of Major Kira's outfit.
Wasn't
And then
onesies.
finally, yeah, they were like just these like, well, they were two piece, but you know, they had this like Bajoran vibe to it, which I thought was interesting.
But it wasn't like
Um,
pajamas,
right.
which is
And what did you think of just like the alien? I mean, on Star Trek, sometimes you have like aliens that look practically human, just like a Betazoid, but they have slight differences. Like Betazoids have the black eyes, and then here they had these little
the red patches or whatever it was,
designs or
markings.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like that.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
like them. I feel like if these races are Federation races, and they're like part of the Federation, I feel like we should see them recurring. Like I feel like the production team of Star Trek should have a list of all the races that are part of the Federation, and they should bring them back. Don't even bother redesigning them. Just give them the same patch and bring them back. Put them in the background. It would cost absolutely nothing to do this alien race, for example.
It is a little weird how many humans, or just people that look like humans, serve
I,
aboard
I think
the
it makes
Enterprise.
sense. Also, the MCU is just humans everywhere. They're not humans though, but they're all humanoid,
Right, that's true. I guess that's true.
and everyone speaks English
Well,
in the
I think
MCU.
that's like translator
Uh-huh.
technology, but
Uh-huh.
I know,
No,
I
it's
know.
not.
Well,
No, it's not.
wow, you're like. Anyways, Star Trek gets a +1 on that because we do have the universal translator, and it's a good way to
But
explain all that.
I take the MCU a lot less seriously in its like science because it's not science fiction. It's
Right,
it's just
fantasy.
entertainment. It's fantasy and fun. Hmm.
That's true. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and rate this episode.
Oh, will it be a 10?
Wow, you are so bad. And don't start comparing this episode to a Star Trek Discovery episode and asking me to justify my ratings there, mister.
I
But
don't. I won't. I accept your
you can,
ratings as they come.
this one's a 5. It was just like a middle of the road
Oh wow.
episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has this happened before?
What, a 5? Oh,
Well,
you're about to give it a higher.
not only that you give it a 5, but that I also give it a 5.
We're so aligned on this episode.
I know. Like we have the
Really
same notes.
so
We
good.
have the same everything.
It just goes to show. Great minds.
I mean, yeah.
So you give it a 5 also. Excellent.
Yeah, I give it a 5. So
Well,
that gives it like a rating, an average rating of 2, doesn't it?
No, it's just a 5. It's a 5. It's a 5. It's a 5. I mean, if the doctor was on, he would have given this a 0, I think.
Oh yeah, he would have just
It's like
murdered it. No, wrong.
Wrong. And that is the wrong rating.
Hey, look. Well, this episode, it managed to pull off a 5 because it was just us. So lucky you.
It's true. It's true. And this was my birthday episode, which 42 is
Oh
not
no.
41. Sorry, I'm
Oh
41.
no.
I aged myself.
So sad. We did this episode for your birthday.
Well, I might be recording Relics later today also,
Yeah.
so I get a 2-4. And that it looks like I'm gonna have to publish 3 episodes because I still haven't posted Realm of Fear, which was recorded like over a month ago, like 2 months ago. So Discovery kind of
it's basically time travel.
yeah, it's gonna be weird. We keep it weird here on Starfleet.
The you from that episode didn't know what happened in Discovery's finale.
At that point, is that weird? Oh, it's so weird. That is so weird.
And then in a few years, we'll come back to this episode and think we had no clue about what they were doing with the Picard show.
I know. And then it's gonna be fun. Before we go, I do want to talk about your channel, and I'm so happy you're back, by the way. I have to catch up on your videos, but I'm ready to trek on the tube. But before we do that, I want to give a little shout out to Gary, just in general, because Gary is responsible for the look and feel of the Starfleet Boy YouTube, and so generously, puts in the time to make those graphics and things like that. But I also got a nice little package in the mail from Gary, and he sent me some really cool things like this battle damaged USS
Oh,
Enterprise
that's
here.
awesome. That's
Yeah,
so
super
cool.
cool. Dun-na, dun-na,
I
dun-na,
feel so
dun-na,
bad because he
dun-na,
always
dun-na.
remembers all of our birthdays and
He
sends
does.
us stuff, and
He's
uh,
just a darling human being. I
he
think my
is.
life is better off having known Gary, and I have a feeling he'll watch this all the way to the end and be like, "Oh, you're so crazy." And then he also sent me this little tribble which looks like the same hair color as my cat. So my cat's it looks like it could be a hairball.
Battle damage Enterprise and a Tribble.
And
There
then
you go.
and
Oh,
then hold on. Oh, here it is. I am so excited to read this. He sent me the
autobiography.
biography of James T. Kirk. The autobiography of James T. Kirk.
The story of
Shall
Starfleet's
I
greatest captain. Oh wow.
yeah, shall I open up a random page and
Go ahead.
read from it?
Give us a sample.
The turbo lift stopped. I got off and found my way to the auxiliary control room. It was manned by a few crewmen I did not know well, and one that I did. The chief engineer and third in command, Howard Kaplan, my old superior officer from the Republic. He was moved to the Hotspur when the Republic was retired from service. Though he technically outranked me, I was a bridge officer, and he had not been happy to see me come aboard. The rest of the crewmen were among the least experienced on the ship. They were reserve crewmen sent to man the auxiliary control room during a red alert. When the bridge was declared uninhabitable, and any and every senior officer available was supposed to report here and take over. Kaplan and I were the only ones who showed up. "Are you all right, sir?" asked the crewman manning the helm. She was a beautiful young woman named Uhura,
Ooh.
who'd just gotten out of the academy. "Report," I said, ignoring her question because I was far from all right. I was freezing. My legs were weak and my vision was blurry, but I wasn't going to let them know that, especially Kaplan. We're inside the gas giant, sir," Uhura said. "Warp drive is out, and we're not going to be able to stay here for long," Kaplan snapped. Well, I'll leave it at that. So it's the autobiography of Captain Kirk.
This is big. You read the moment he met Uhura.
I did. I just randomly
That's amazing. There you
went to
go.
that page, yeah. Very cool. He was 27, by the way, during this passage, Captain Kirk.
Okay. He made captaincy really young. Not as young as in the Kelvin timeline, but
Right. What was he, like 18?
yeah, that was pretty quick.
I mean, a lot of stuff can happen. Anyways, it was a joy. Why don't you tell folks about your hiatus and your return, and let I know you already did this on the Discovery one, but now you've got some videos up.
I do. I have 2 videos up now. Hopefully a third coming soon. I left. I went on vacation for 4 or 5 weeks with my wife and my baby, and we visited family and then new places. It was fun. Now I'm back, and I made a news video when I came back, and then now I'm kind of catching up on my Discovery reviews for season 2. So I'm gonna try and put out one a week, usually around Tuesdays. I try to put them out, but I have no strict schedule because if I do try to have one, I'm late. So
What's the latest episode that you did of Discovery? What was the one you just...
Project Daedalus, so episode
Oh,
9.
great.
Which wasn't one of my best, like one of my favorite episodes. It was a bit better than this one of TNG, I gotta say, but it wasn't an amazing episode to me.
Now that's the one where Arium
Yeah,
bites the bullet, right?
yeah,
Oh, I'm surprised you didn't like that one as much.
yeah. I don't know. I've seen the whole give a backstory to a character in one episode, quick, and then kill her off. It happens very often in The Walking Dead and shows like that, and
Oh, okay.
I feel like it's very overdone. And it was kind of predictable.
But
But
if you
the
look at
Discovery has the advantage of being serialized in a sense. So
right.
even if an episode is sometimes a little boring or doesn't have that much in it, it still helps the story move along.
I saw a blog that said that Ariam's like the greatest background character in Star Trek, and they listed how many episodes she was in, and it's a lot. She has truly been, but obviously until that one episode, all she did was
yeah. But then you could kind of sense something was going to happen because they changed the actor,
right?
You know, for season 1, season 2, and then like originally, I thought they changed the actor because I don't know. I thought maybe they wanted to give Ariam just more importance, so they wanted like an actor with more experience. But ultimately, I think it was the other way around. Now I think they gave like it to an actor that didn't want to stay on the show. Because now that the actor that used to be Ariam can stay on the show as someone. Or did they leave her behind?
No, she's. I think Lieutenant Nilsson went with them.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
It was a way to maybe keep her on the show, but still get rid of Ariam the way they wanted.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, also, I think they could have still done the same thing because Ariam is, you know, the
deal
two actors.
The deal is, the flashback scenes would have kind of screwed people over because then you would have had this flashback scene of what Ariam looked like before.
Oh, you're right.
It would have been, it would have been the same actor as that they had on the bridge, and people were like, "What?" So
that's a really good point. Whoa, yawning all the way through.
Yeah, I didn't yawn. That was just you.
This is 41 people. This is what it's.
This is it. It kills you.
This is it. Yawning. This is 41. Anyways, it was nice celebrating a little bit of my birthday with you, Sean. Everyone, please go check out Trek on the Tube. Also, please check out all the other fun endeavors with the Starfleet Boy crew that comes on every now and then, or sometimes regularly. So check out the Trek Book Club with Trekkie Rob. Check out Ketwalski's channel. He's making some interesting videos as well. Check out Trek on the Tube, which is Gary's channel.
No, and me.
What's that? Price, I've got Trek on the Tube on my brain. Check out Trekker Prize, which is Gary's channel. Thank you very much. And I think that's all the people that have. Oh no, PJ's channel and Text Trek. So check those out as well. And that's everyone who has like a channel, I think, or a presence online. But we have more people that you can come and hang out with. Anyways, thank you, Sean. Once again, live long and prosper.
Of course.
And we'll see you next time.
See ya.